Hi, this is Randy. I'm trying this again for the third time. Hopefully this is going to work. I wanted to show you a couple books that have been helpful to me since I've been in my recovery as a victim of a narcissistic spousal abuse by a covert, antisocial, malignant, somatic narcissist. And I also wanted to talk about my experiences related to Serena Nightshade's recent video, Waiting for Their Ship to Come In. My narcissist I was with for 18 years, and I'm sorry, 16 years, but right now it's at the 18-year mark. We've been divorced for 2 years now. When I first met him, he had this great idea that he was totally preoccupied with. He was going to get his friend, who is a computer programmer, to write a program, and they were going to sell it for millions of dollars to someone like Bill Gates or another Fortune 500 company. And my narcissist was the person who was the innovator, the motivator, and the salesperson. And his partner was the person who was doing all the dirty work, actually doing the programming. When they finally got done with the program and went to sell it after months and months of not making any money and being broke, they ended up selling the program for something like $5,000 to $7,000. Yeah, that's thousands. The narc thought it was going to be millions. And he was really depressed after that, that his idea that he was just sure was very extremely like groundbreaking was not appreciated by the market, and these companies, he blamed them for not really seeing the value and what they could have had, but yet they still sold it for $5,000. So the narcissist had to go back to the drawing board and give up his dream of being an instant millionaire, and he had to become a carpenter. He went to go work for the Carpenters Union, making crates, wooden crates, 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. But that didn't last long because that was too hard. All he did was eat, sleep, and work. And plus, all those nasty coworkers who thought that they were so great when he did such a better job than everyone. And then, of course, he had to have a boss, and the narcissist can't have a boss because they're the boss. And it just reminds them that they're not all that, and that's just too hard to take. So he quit that job, even though it was good, steady money, probably about 3 or 4 months later, because he couldn't take it. He went back to home remodeling. He had his own business then. He would put ads in the paper. He taught himself how to do all this remodeling because, he's so talented. All he has to do is watch somebody do something once, and then he can do it. Well, he, over the years, wanted to specialize in different things. Like one month it was plumbing, another month he wanted to specialize in doing drywall. One summer he specialized in doing wooden decks or brick pavers, and sometimes it was specializing in siding. Anything to try to find this niche where he was just going to make a name for himself and just really capture the entire market, because he's the best at everything that he does, even though in reality he does half-assed jobs. So he would do that and did make quite a good, decent income in the spring and summer, but he never saved any money during the spring and summer for when the famine came in the winter and nobody wanted anything done in their homes. So he would be broke and very depressed, and he would invent things in the winter like a shovel, a drywall shovel. And then he's going to get it manufactured in China, and he's going to mass produce it and sell it to Home Depots across the U.S. and become an instant millionaire. Okay, well, that never happened, but the hours and hours and hours he spent researching it and talking about it was time that he could have spent actually working. Then there was the time that the winter that he got interested in walleye fishing, and he decided he was going to make fishing jigs and sell them and become rich. So he would be in the basement every day talking to the fish store owner on the phone about fishing and about jigs, and he would be painting his little bright jigs, bright colored neon paint, and he sold, a few of those. Yeah, no money-making scheme, believe me. Then there was the idea of becoming a slumlord. I'm going to buy an apartment building, and then I'm going to go bully everybody to pay their rent every month. And I'm going to allow the building to probably go without heat, without windows, without repair. And then I can have a lot of power and make a lot of money and just really sit on my ass, which is really what his favorite thing is to do, sit on his ass on the internet or in front of the TV watching criminal shows. How about having a flea market? He loves flea markets because, he knows value, and that's a way that the narcissist can kind of rip other people off, because he can buy things for cheap that are actually valuable and then turn around and sell them, because he's such a great salesperson. He's so manipulative, he can convince people of anything. He had me convinced, right? So how about people that are almost close to death? Is there anyone around you can maybe inherit something from? Well, the narcissist thinks so. He befriended a paranoid schizophrenic who is a piano refinisher. And he goes over there. He grooms the man, acts like he's the guy's best friend, and takes him to the hospital when he has a psychotic break. But it's all for a reason. It's because this man doesn't have any kids, and he wants this man to leave him his building, which is next to a prominent university. And he also wants this man to teach him how to do piano refinishing and leave him all his tools when he dies. So that's why he befriends the paranoid schiz. So apparently he's going to become a piano refinisher someday too, as soon as this guy croaks. Here's a side note. When my narcissist would go and work on this old woman's house doing drywall repair, he would go back to her house over and over because he'd have to put another coat on or whatever, and he'd come home and tell me that this woman stares at his penis while he works, and he called her the dick starer, and I didn't really understand it at the time, but this was part of the somatic narcissist delusions, that everyone just wants his body, including elderly women. He actually would wear pants and shorts with holes in them in private places and no underwear, and then come home to me and tell me that, like, this old lady's staring at his package. Really creepy when I think about it. What was going on in his mind? I mean, the woman probably just had an eye problem. She probably had cock eyes, and wasn't looking at anything at all. But of course, the somatic narc thinks she's looking at his package. She wants him. That probably goes with some of the granny porn that I'd catch on the computer that he would blame my son for. Yeah, right. And then when the narc decompensated, his ideas got criminal. His money-making schemes branched off into the drug selling, growing marijuana, buying all sorts of contraptions and lights, and reading up and spending hours and hours getting ready to do some criminal activity where he could make some quick money fast. He even talked about smuggling marijuana across the border. And then when it really got sick, where I really wanted to throw up, is when he mentioned that he got offered to do human trafficking, actually bring people from another country to this country in a boat that were immigrants. And he didn't call it human trafficking, but now I know what it is. And these are the kind of people he hung around with and he associated with. I never met them. Of course, this is not acceptable to me. He didn't end up doing that, but just to know what the narcissist is capable of and what he's actually even willing to consider and the kinds of people that he hangs around, that he'll do anything for some kind of get-rich-quick scheme to get out of work because he's extremely, extremely lazy. But he'll spend hours and hours, weeks and months scheming and plotting and researching how to make this money. And if you add up all the time that he spends preoccupied with how to do it, probably ends up becoming like $5 an hour when he could have just spent his time actually working. When he did work and make any money, he didn't pay taxes because, he's above paying taxes. He shouldn't have to pay taxes to the IRS. He just didn't report it. He just kind of like tried to go off grid, and he did end up having to pay his taxes. But narcissists don't like to work, and they don't think they should pay for anything. And I just realized that I'm never going to get any of this money. I'm not going to see any of it, so I'm not going to get behind any of it, and I'm not going to listen to all these get rich quick schemes, because really it's not going to make a damn bit of difference to me. Because actually what I figured out is the more money the narcissist has, the meaner and more abusive they are. Thanks for listening.